So guys, we're here today to talk about Maserati. Should you buy or lease a new Maserati in this day and age? Now what you saw in the beginning were prices of some 2017 model Maseratis brand new. And this topic is subjective. There's no right or wrong answer, even though there are experiences that others have had, like myself, or there are actual numbers and facts. It depends on what your use for the vehicle will be. And I guess what I mean by that is, are you buying a car to keep it and do these things to it and make it your own and pass it down to, you know, your son or daughter, or, you know, brother or sister? What do you plan on doing with the car? So here I have my 2016 Ghibli S, which I bought brand new last year, about 14 months ago. I bought it brand new while trading in my old 2015 base model Ghibli to get this. So I financed both of them, no leases. The first time I did it, I had traded in my BMW 5 Series and also got rid of my black Grand Am GT SCT package that I had in order to get my 2015 Maserati Ghibli. Okay, so there's the backstory behind that. Now with that, I was able to get into the Maserati with financing, not with a lease. So that was my first step into getting into the exotic car world. That was the way I was going to get in, my in. And then a year later, I ended up getting the 2016 Ghibli S, and you guys all know the backstory, so I won't go too much into it. But I got this car with the plans on keeping it, because I was like, you know, going from Maserati to Maserati, there has to be some big change, especially since it's the same type of model, to you know, want to do something like that. So I knew that if I did it, I was going to make it worth it. I was going to keep it for a while, and you know, I was going to enjoy the car, which I do. I enjoy the car quite well. The reasoning why I was thinking about, you know, trading it in, which I've explained in other videos, is that I wanted to free up some equity, because I wanted to do something with me and, you know, some business stuff. I wanted to save a little money, future things, you know, just to have a little bit of free equity. So then I found out the depreciation of the Maserati Ghibli, and just Maseratis in general. I knew they were bad at depreciation, but when I saw it on paper how bad it was, that I showed in that other video, that you'll see, or you've seen already probably, just go back and look at the Maserati Depreciation video. I saw how bad the depreciation was, and how it's almost impossible, even with most new cars in general, to flip your car and get rid of it within a year. It's already hard. With Maseratis, it's 10 times harder. These are very bad at depreciation. They will dip quick. So the new ones, after you get them off the lot and have put just a couple miles on them, just tank. So the question is it better to lease a Maserati? It depends, like I said, on what you're gonna do. Earlier I said what you're gonna do with the car. My intentions was to keep it. I wanted to, you know, I wrap it and change out the wheels with powder coat, and, you know, do all this other stuff. You know, I wanted to someday lower it and do all these other things to it. Stuff that, you know, in most cases, you know, if you have a lease, you might not want to touch it too much. Now the wrap doesn't matter, but a lot of things you have to turn back to stock that you do when your lease is up. So, you know, when you own a car where the bank owns it, you know, you plan on making it really yours, and customization comes in. So when you're planning on keeping the car and you want to do all that kind of stuff to it, you know, buying sounds like the thing to do because you plan on having it for a long time, or at least, you know, for a few years to where you can not be upside down if you go for the trade-in. Now with leases, there's a couple of things that may get in your way as well on really enjoying the car. When you lease, you're, you know, paying for the depreciation of the car pretty much, essentially, because you're going to give the car back in 3 years or 5 years, however long you do the lease. But when you lease, the car isn't yours, you know, so you got to remember, essentially, every scratch and every dent and every little thing you do is going to have to be fixed before you turn that car back in. So you have to treat it as if, like you say, you're renting a house. You know, you're not going to get your security deposit back because you got all this, you got stains in the carpet, you got this and that wrong with it, and you know, it's very stressful because any little thing that you do, for instance, the scratches here will have to be replaced before you turn it back in for the next customer. You know, they'll lose money if, you know, they get a damaged vehicle. So it's one of those things to where, oh, it's very nerve-wracking because it's not yours. You're borrowing it, essentially. You're paying to borrow it. Another thing with leases is you essentially can't really get out and drive it as much as you want to because the lease deals sometimes are a little strict. For instance, you can pay $700, you know, a month to have one of these cars. Now that sounds very enticing, but what if you can only put 5,000 miles on it a year? These are daily drivers. The Ghiblis are daily drivers. You know, I'm not speaking for all Maseratis as far as the lease deals, but all Maseratis have bad depreciation. But this is just an example since I've had this car and I know what it's like. I put 1,000 miles pretty much on it a month since I've had it because it's my daily driver. I love to drive it, I love to have fun, and I love to use it. So with that said, if you get a lease deal where you can only put 5,000 miles on it a year, where are you going? Where you gonna go to Walmart and back? You know, like, you just really can't get out and enjoy the car. You love it so much and you want to hear the exhaust note and you want to, you know, roll down the windows and speed and do all this kind of stuff, which I don't recommend speeding, but you lose the whole driving experience. And like I said, you already feel like it's not your car because you have to take so much good care of it so you can turn it back in, you know, hassle free, and then you can't even drive it when you want because you might be getting close to going over your miles, and then you have to pay for more miles, you know. It's very restricted. So with leasing, you have those cons, but the pros of leasing, which are very major, is once you're done, you turn the car back in, you're done with it. You can walk away from the car. Say you get this car and after a while stuff starts breaking and you start hating it, and you realize how much maintenance would be, you know, fixing all these parts. You know, with newer cars, a lot of technology, a lot of stuff can go wrong, and you're just like, I don't want to be in this thing anymore because once it gets older and I put more and more miles on it, it's gonna start breaking down on me and I'm gonna have to pay a ton out of pocket. You get in your lease, you give it back to the dealership, they'll deal with it. That's their car, you get into something else, and maybe you get into the next model Maserati, you know, and then you start all over again. Such a pro on leasing a vehicle that it's hard to make an argument that you should finance or aka buy your car because of the depreciation value. These are not, you know, LaFerraris. These are not MC12s, Maseratis. That appreciation is crazy. These are not Porsche GT3 RSs. These are cars with a high supply and a low demand. Okay, it's not a car to where they only make 4 of them like a Veneno, Lamborghini Veneno, and you know everybody wants one, and you're chosen to get one. Like the guy in Miami, down here in Miami, shout out to Chris. But you know, it's one of those things to where they're not going to go up in value. it's a depreciating asset, and it's a very high rate depreciating asset. So that's what I'm gonna say as far as my feelings on it. And there's probably a lot of stuff I missed, but you know, I'm not a finance man, so I'm gonna leave it up to you guys to talk in the comments. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you would do. Let me know what you think that other commenters and subscribers should do when it comes to these cars, because there's a lot of opinions on this, and that's the reason why I'm making this video, because a lot of people have a lot to say when it comes to buying the vehicle. Is it worth it? Is it just, would you just rather lease it? Does it make more sense financially? So it just depends on where you are in life, you know, and what your purpose is for the vehicle, and a number of other factors, but I won't get too deep into it because this is just a long video of me talking. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. I mean, you guys discuss among yourselves too. I would like to see you guys give others advice. Always like and subscribe. Definitely like to get this up in the rankings, because people ask me this all the time. So now that we have a video on it, hopefully this will help clarify some things. Until next time, guys, I'll talk to you in the next one, and we'll see you later.